This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News.
The MSUM community comes together to shine a light on recent violence towards Asian Americans.
Find out how one MSUM music student is taking her talents to the main stage.
Ride along on the boozy bus as one NDSU student helps in the fight against drinking and driving.
After being sidelined last season, Dragon football is back on the field and ready to make an impact. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Alex Larson.
And I'm Eric George. After an increase in attacks on Asians and Asian Americans in the United States, students and staff at MSUM took a stand and are asking for change.
Reporter Chase Scherer has a story on how the community came together to honor their lives.
As a way of showing their respect for those whose lives were taken in Atlanta on March 16th, 8 candles were placed on a table outside the Livingston Lord Library. 8 candles to represent each person that had lost their lives. Pooja Sharma Hausman of MSUM's Office of Diversity and Inclusion says that she wonders why this is still a problem today.
In general, there's a lot of racism, xenophobia, and a lot of times Asians really have to end up documenting all of that just for people to take them seriously.
A speaker there, NDSU professor Dr. Gunjan Shi, shared his thoughts about why it's important to face this kind of violence head on.
So we just want to urge our Asian community, people, if we face this aggression or insult, we should be brave, stand up, and speak up for yourself.
Some of those attending were even asked to wear white and not red as a sign of respect for those who lost their lives. Sharma Hausman hopes that people understand that there should not be any place for this kind of hate.
We care. We are a caring community, and that API hate is not welcome here. It is not welcome in our community, and that we stand for our values, and that our values are that we treat everyone with kindness, compassion, and respect.
Those with MSUM say that there have not been any reports involving violence against Asian Americans. With photographer Paige Gifford, Chase Scherer, Campus News.
MSUM's Office of Diversity and Inclusion says that their office is always open for students experiencing racism and hate crimes. MSUM and NDSU have been targeted by the white supremacy group Patriot Front. Stickers promoting the group were found on the outside of buildings on both campuses, most recently MSUM. Campus security quickly took down the stickers and reported them to MSUM officials. Kara Gravely-Stack, leader of MSUM's Bias Incidents Response Team, was one of the first people notified. She condemns the group's message, one she says is not welcome at MSUM.
It's not our community values, and it's disappointing that people are promoting that ideology of organizations such as this.
MSUM's Bias Incident Response Team will continue working with NDSU and local police to identify the suspect. NDSU, Black Lives Matter, and other community members organized a vigil to honor the life of Daunte Wright. The event was attended by over 150 students, activists, and other concerned citizens. Attendees signed a sympathy card for Wright's family, lit candles, listened to speeches from local activists, and held a moment of silence in Wright's name. Activist Wes Philome urged residents to pressure local leaders to be more proactive about civil rights issues in Fargo-Moorhead.
It's been a challenging year as COVID-19 continues to spread across the country, but rapidly increasing vaccine distribution efforts are giving people a reason to be optimistic for the future. Reporter Mike McGurran went to a vaccine clinic at NDSU to see how students and faculty feel about getting the shot.
Frigid temperatures aren't holding the campus community at NDSU back from finally getting a coronavirus vaccine. NDSU held the first of 2 COVID-19 vaccine clinics outside the Sanford Health Athletic Complex on campus, allowing students and faculty to be vaccinated for free. NDSU staff member Connie Forboard says that her desire for the vaccine isn't just about herself.
I also help take care of my parents. They're 78 years old, so I just want to be safe for them too.
Even though NDSU student body president Matthew Friedman believes it's important for people to keep following COVID safety protocols, he feels better knowing that more and more people are getting vaccinated.
What hasn't changed is my behavior, but what has changed is, I think, my attitude.
Nursing student Emily Kunkel, who volunteered at the event, says that the energy inside the facility was electric.
There was excitement. It was very energetic, fast-paced.
According to a recent Gallup poll, 26% of Americans remain unwilling to receive the vaccine. Emily suspects that could change as more and more people opt in.
Most people that I personally know that were skeptics of the vaccine, they're seeing other people getting vaccinated. They see that it's okay and more socially accepted. So now they're being like, okay, well, maybe I'll jump on the bus.
For this one day at least, spirits seemed high. While some members of the NDSU community still urge caution in the present, many are allowing themselves to feel hopeful of the future for the first time in a long time. With photographer Eric George, Mike McGurn, Campus News.
Nearly 600 students and employees received shots at NDSU's first vaccination clinic. As more students and staff have access to the COVID-19 vaccine, many are asking, when will the COVID safety guidelines go away? Reporter Ethan Studi talks with members of the MSUM community about their hopes for the fall semester.
And submit. Filling out MSUM's COVID self-assessment has become a daily requirement for staff and students before they head onto campus. But as more people get vaccinated, will this and other COVID guidelines go away? The short answer is probably not. The longer answer:
we're continuing to monitor everything and, are hoping to see just continued improvement.
Cara Grapply-Stack is MSUM's Title IX coordinator turned head of COVID care team.
Well, I'm part of our emergency management team, and also, a big part of the work I do as the Dean of Students is to provide direct support.
Stack's responsibilities include contacting students and teachers who test positive for COVID-19 and setting them up for quarantine. She also works with the college to help with COVID-19 guidelines. And while masks, screenings, and social distancing will stick around, there will be some changes.
Well, my hope is that we'll be able to, just continue to open up more and more. I know a lot of people would love to be done with masks.
And while COVID guidelines have been a controversial topic, many of the students of MSUM understand why the campus is doing what it's doing.
I think it's reasonable to have a mask mandate on campus.
It's a little extreme, but I think being too safe is better than being not safe at all.
Once like 80% of the student population has a vaccine, I think they could be loosened.
But for now, MSUM is going to observe the situation to keep staff and students safe. With photographer Cheyenne Lundy, Ethan Studi, Campus News.
At this time, MSUM is keeping most guidelines in place and is not requiring students and faculty to be vaccinated. $1.6 million is how much the University of Minnesota Duluth is asking for to redesign their oldest building. UMD hopes to use the building for the earth and environmental science and the computer science fields. The project has an overall price tag of $2.4 million. The 70-year-old building was the first to be built on the lower campus. Computer Science Department head Pete Williamson says the project would allow UMD to improve the student experiences and help the workforce demand.
MSUM's Women's Center put up its annual Clothesline Project display to bring awareness to sexual assault. Students and survivors of sexual assault were able to come and create t-shirts to tell their stories or those of victims they know. T-shirts from past years are also up on display. Event organizers say the event is designed to honor survivors. The Clothesline Project was started in 1990 and has over 500 events around the world. An idea that started in the dorms at NDSU has led one senior to give up his weekends for the greater good. I hopped on the Boozy Bus to find out more on what this student is doing to put an end to drunk driving.
Have fun, get lit.
Wait, how do I
let me know. Yep, let me know if you need a ride home.
Oh, will do.
Boozy Bus founder Xavier Bonaire started driving the bus in the fall and has already given over 5,000 rides to help keep drunk drivers off the road.
You know, I've seen a huge problem with people around me and even my friends drinking and driving, and you know, we always want to go out and have a good time, but we need a safe alternative.
Riders can call, text, or book online to schedule a ride.
Way better than Uber or Lyft. He's actually close to our age, so he's more of a friend to us than anything.
The bus's route around downtown Fargo goes until 3 a.m. from Wednesdays to Saturdays every week.
What makes us a little bit different is we do it per person so that we're not breaking the bank of anybody. We do between $2 to $5 per person.
Unlike its competitors Uber and Lyft, the Boozy Bus's prices do not go up based on demand. It also offers group rates and rides off of the route to bring riders right to their front doors.
Because it's a fun, friendly environment, it's customer first. You know, if we get in, we could control the aux cord, you know.
The next steps with Boozy Bus, I want to expand to every university. So we're not trying to recreate the wheel, but just twist it up a little bit.
The Boozy Bus will soon have a second bus operating to help with the high demand of riders. Moving forward, the Boozy Bus hopes to expand to every college campus.
One store at North Dakota State University is helping students beat hunger, but not for a price. As campus news reporter John Hayes found out, this store has made an impact on students in need.
Hidden in the back of the NDSU bookstore is the campus's first food pantry named Goods for the Herd. This food pantry has been used more because of the financial hits brought on by COVID-19. Food pantry coordinator Megan Urhat says she is happy to have the pantry open for students.
There was definitely a greater need for it. Students were losing their jobs, or they weren't working or making as much money because of COVID. So I would say that was kind of a silver lining to get this really up and running.
Megan believes the pantry, while it helps feed those in need, can also do more for the community.
Bring awareness around nutrition, cooking, budgeting, and different things like that. So we really see ourselves as a holistic resource.
NDSU student John Swanson says he volunteers at the food pantry to be a helping hand in his community.
I thought it'd be a good opportunity to, see more people on campus, help out in a place that I've lived for quite a while.
Megan wants the food pantry to stay open for many years to come and hopes they will be able to move into a bigger space in the summer. With photographer Marissa Reed, John Hayes, Campus News.
Their next food drive will be for peanut butter and rice. While NDSU has a food pantry available to their students, MSUM is taking a different route. Pop-up events around campus as well as on social media are being held to spread awareness about the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, for students. An expansion to the December stimulus package makes roughly 3 million students who are not able to work during COVID eligible for the SNAP program in the United States and will end 30 days after the public health emergency is over. MSUM Assistant Director of Financial Aid Sarah Hartwig explains why she believes this expansion is much needed.
Students are in need, students are hurting, and anything we can do or the feds can do to help our students even more, it's just that much more stress off students' shoulders.
The Minnesota Department of Education will be sending out letters to students who are eligible to apply for the SNAP program. Theater at MSUM has a long history going back to the creation of the college.
However, the program is closing soon due to budget cuts. Reporter Ty Schoner talks with affected professors and students.
You can hear the history as you walk across the stage. One which has hosted hundreds of shows.
Okay, this said that the first season of Straw Hat Players was 1963 in Weld Hall.
It's a history that Craig Ellingson, who has been the theater director at MSUM for the last 20 years, is immensely proud of.
We are standing on the shoulders of those people who performed on these stages before you did, before we did. All we do is work. We eat, bleed, sweat theater.
The future, however, doesn't look as promising.
One of the things that really impacted my perception of things was not about what it was going to do to me, but to the students who are here and to the students who were committed to this program.
The theater program, along with 9 other majors, are going to be shut down over the next 3 years. Although the 175 students across MSUM will be able to complete their education, students like Michael McClellan see the loss of theater having a more subtle impact on related courses.
It feels like we're losing a lot in the arts department. I would say that theater is like the backbone of the arts department.
Theater gives time for students in other majors to utilize skills they're learning in class. McClellan explains that entertainment industries and technology help run lights and audio. Actors work on film projects, and musicians use the stage for concerts.
Kind of a very symbiotic relationship, and I think that losing theater is a big detriment to every single department in the Center for the Arts.
Both Ellingson and McClellan are hopeful that theater will return one day. But for now,
there's definitely some melancholy and the idea of loss.
They are turning off the lights once their last graduate walks across the stage. With photographer Marissa Shyok, Ty Schonert, Campus News.
MSUM President Ann Blackhurst says the program cuts were needed because of a lack of student enrollment. She says costs were exceeding revenue. With the semester coming to a close, many college seniors are working towards their final projects. Reporter Grace Magstead talks with a film student about his experiences at MSUM.
4 years isn't long enough for Zach Howitt as his college experience comes to a close. Zach is currently working on many of his own projects for the film department.
The first is my capstone film project, Kinesthesia, and the other one is this side project that I wrote and directed called Cobwebs.
In addition to working towards his major in film, Zach works for the MSUM Marketing and Communications Office as a videographer and editor.
If somebody has a scholarship that they earned, sometimes I'll go in and I'll edit videos that show people the scholarships that they get and how much it means to them.
Calories. Pizza. With COVID impacting Zach's filming work, he has still been grateful for all the projects he has gotten to work on in the past years.
One of my favorite was Pillow Talk, which is the biggest project that I directed at MSUM.
Empty pillowcase with all of its ends sewn shut.
And it was just this piece where 3 people are talking about their experiences with relationships, and it's just, it's super surreal and cerebral. You kind of get in their head.
Zach says he is beyond thankful for the theater and acting students at MSUM for making all of his visions come to life on the screen. With photographer Jenna Scott, Grace Magstead, Campus News.
Zach hopes to have his next film out to the public by the end of May. The MSUM Planetarium has been doing a game night every Friday for the past month to help draw attention to the planetarium. Students are able to bring in any of their own multiplayer games or come and play the games that are available. Lily Myers talks about how she is hoping these events will help students understand that the planetarium is not just for students that like astronomy.
This is a great way to get people to figure out where the planetarium is and feel like it's more relaxed than the very stuffy kind of show that we sometimes have.
Myers is hoping to continue doing this event as long as they have a good student turnout.
One college student's life has changed with the help of one miniature instrument. Jackson Wallar, a freshman at Oak Hills Christian College in Bemidji, Minnesota, has gained a huge following of 2.9 million followers on the social media platform TikTok for his musical performances with the ukulele. He believes he has now made it because singer Jason Derulo follows him. Jax hopes with this new fame, it will push him into a career of R&B music. MSUM Dragon Radio is getting the chance to step out of the studio and back into the campus community as more in-person events become possible. With nearly 200 vinyls on site and 2 record players spinning, the Dragon Radio staff took over the campus mall for their Vinylthon event. Station manager Grace Vitrone says it was a celebration of college radio and vinyl music. She was happy that everyone was able to show up to enjoy the music together.
It feels really good because I actually get to see the DJs, which I have not seen like all year, and just be able to have a conversation about music for once feels refreshing.
MSUM's Dragon Radio is available to the public and anyone can listen on dragonradio.org. As graduation approaches, MSUM music students are completing their senior capstone projects.
Reporter Kate Almquist met with one senior who is going above and beyond and will be leaving MSUM with much more than just her degree.
Here it is from the top.
MSUM music students must complete either a senior recital or an album before they graduate. But senior Kara Bruceven decided she didn't want to pick just one.
I feel like there was not exactly a decision process that happened with that. I just said I want to do both of these things, and I think they're going to work very well together.
Her album is called Two Halves of One Whole and features 5 instrumental songs that are a mix of both originals and covers. Kara has been working on the album all semester with her classmate and audio engineer, Evan Bogue.
My highlight of working on the album is just spending that time in the studio. Being a senior, kind of wrapping up kind of the loose ends in the studio, just getting the techniques down.
Kara says the goal of creating the album was never to gain fame and fortune, but to have the learning experience of supporting herself through this process.
I've had to step into this leadership role and also put myself into kind of a vulnerable position of putting my own compositions out there, putting out a lot of different music in one spot, and trying a lot of things that haven't been tried before.
The album is expected to be released in early May, and both Evan and Kara say they are excited to have their completed project out in the world for everyone to hear. With photographer Nancy Wamboy, Kate Almquist, Campus News.
Bruce Venn will be doubling up her senior recital as an album release party, which will take place on May 1st at the Gaiety Stage.
And now we turn it over to Jordan for a look at this week's sports.
So I heard MSUM softball has some unique little visitors at their games.
They sure do. Dragon fans have been able to watch MSUM softball live and in person, but they are not the only spectators. Reporter Breck Stutz spoke with the softball team about the special visitors that attend their games.
MSUM softball is back on the field, with family, friends, and fans coming to watch the action. Alongside these spectators, the softball team has another special audience. An adorable litter of foster puppies.
They're just like another addition to the family. Like they run around and like it's just someone to play with because there's a lot of stress with school and being an athlete, so being able to release our stress with an animal around is just, it's next tier. It's really nice.
These 3 dogs belong to softball head coach Amanda Raykamp, who has been a foster parent ever since moving to Fargo Moorhead.
I adopted a rescue puppy about 8 years ago, and so his name is Ozzy, and I got him when he was 5 months old. He was in pretty bad shape, but now he's living his best life. When I moved here to Moorhead, I got connected with For Love a Dog, and the ability to foster seemed interesting.
Fans really like them, but as far as our team, I think that they just lighten the mood, and if we're down on ourselves about something, like you just go pet the dog, and then it's fine.
But yeah, it's been really fun. It's been any dogs from, that have behavioral issues, maybe they're a little just unsure and just need to kind of some love to get them calmed down to go on to their forever home. So it's been really great.
Just as Amanda is committed to transforming the lives of her athletes, she is equally as devoted to transforming the lives of her dogs. With photographer Jeb Dunnick, Breck Stutz, Campus News Sports.
MSUM softball will be competing against Minnesota State Mankato on May 1st at home. 4 MSUM wrestlers have earned Scholar All-American honors. The award is from the National Wrestling Coaches Association. To get this honor, a student athlete must have a minimum GPA of 3.4. Those chosen to receive this honor include Ryan Stenson, Andre Baguma, Jaden Ostern, and Hunter Hayes. This year marks 2 years in a row winning the award for Stenson and Ostern. MSUM's spring soccer season is coming to an end this weekend. With the fall season being cut short due to the pandemic, the team was able to schedule a handful of games in their spring season. Though the loss of the fall season was tough, players say they are grateful for the chance to play.
This season has been a little difficult with COVID and not having as many games under our belt going into our spring season, so we had to go out there and just kind of give it our all. And this weekend is going to be a tough weekend, but if we all give it our 100%, I know we can do great things.
The MSUM soccer team is scheduled to play their final games this weekend in the Dragon Tourney. The MSUM Dragon football team is excited to be back on the field after being shut down last fall. I went to practice to get a closer look at how the team is preparing.
With weather slowly getting nicer, the MSUM Dragons football team has entered its spring practice season and hit the ground running. Without a season in the fall, head coach Steve Lockway is using the extra spring practices as a way to make up for lost time.
Not having the fall season, we're able to practice more often this spring because we weren't able to practice or play in the fall. So that's kind of allowed us to really build the fundamentals of the program, which we needed because we didn't get a season to play.
With the time off, some players took the extra challenge upon themselves.
And so while quarantine is tough in a lot of ways, there were a lot of guys that took advantage of that time and remade themselves into really great football players, and I'm really excited to get them to see them on the field and then see them reap some success for the hard work that they put in when nobody was watching.
With joint practices against the University of Mary and the University of Sioux Falls, Lockway is interested in seeing how the team and the new freshmen stack up to the competition.
think they're kind of feeling out, you know, where they are and how far they need to go. The nice thing when you play a game in the fall, you can kind of get a litmus test of, whew, I'm where I need to be, or I'm a long way away. And so they haven't really gotten to be able to get that feedback.
Looking ahead to the fall, there is one thing on Lockway's mind.
Looking forward to getting a chance to play.
After being sidelined for over a year, the team is happy to just be back on the field.
The Dragons are set to play their first game on September 4th. They're making great use of the time they have.
We're looking forward to seeing them in the fall.
Thank you, Jordan. Who doesn't like a good dodgeball tournament? Well, students at MSUM decided to take the game even further by adding arrows.
Porter Bryant Stenberg takes us into the Wellness Center for more on the special game.
Set, go! Students showed up for an evening of fun, but this game was not what most people think of when they picture dodgeball. Students at the Wellness Center here at MSUM came out to shoot these arrows for archery dodgeball. After getting used to shooting the arrows and learning the rules of the game, it was game on. Students shot arrows across at each other while trying to catch arrows to save teammates that were out of the game. Following the game, students looked back on a great evening with lots of excitement.
Yeah, I had a blast. It was really fun. It was a crazy night tonight.
Campbell says he has one memory from the evening that stands out the most, when one of his teammates made an unexpected play.
We thought that was impossible before the game, but he somehow managed to do that, so we were very impressed.
Organizers say events like this bring students out to have fun in a group setting.
There's not too many opportunities to shoot arrows at, your peers and, get away with it.
After a year of staying apart, leaders say these types of events are very important for students.
It allows students to connect with their peers in a fun, competitive atmosphere.
While events like this have recently started, the Wellness Center hopes to offer more events soon. With photographer Devin Elliott, Bryant Stenberg, Campus News.
The Wellness Center is hosting events like this every Thursday evening.
And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with a performance from MSUM's Guitar Ensemble.
Thanks for joining us for our final edition of Campus News for this season, and we'll see you next year.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.